My name is Michael Dudok de Wit. I live in England. I'm from Holland originally. I live in England and I'm an animator and animation director. And my latest film is a feature film called The Red Turtle. I went to art college and I hesitated between comic strips, graphic novels or animation. I chose animation because of the music. You can combine visuals with music. I really like that idea. I very much like the word timeless. I like the idea of timelessness. The films with a timeless quality are the films that have excited me most. I'm not saying that a very particular film of a particular period, like Easy Rider, I was thinking that's not a timeless film, it's of that time. But the timeless films stay with me. And timeless, I mean the story is timeless, you don't know exactly when it happens and it doesn't matter. But it's not only the story, it's the subject is very fine. When I see a film that really explores the finest of the human feelings, I call that timeless. And I try to find that in my own work and to explore that and to communicate that with the people who are working with me. Actually, the cycle of life of the generations, being born, living fully, becoming mature and then slowly arriving at the end of their lives and a new generation doing the same thing, that always moves me. When I see a photo album where I see photos of a little baby, little girl, a young woman, a mature woman and her whole life in one photo album, I find it incredibly moving. I go for nostalgia too, or melancholy, at least that's the word people use. Not because I'm melancholical, or I'm not even very nostalgic, but it's a very fine sadness. And paradoxically, you could say sadness is suffering, but when it's very fine, very pure, it has its own beauty. It's suffering, but it's beautiful too, because it's pure. And that I like to explore that in my films. In this, my last film, in The Red Turtle, I really wanted it to be hand-drawn. What we call 2D, drawn by hand. Not because it's the technique I've always used and I feel comfortable with that, but it has its own beauty. It's not like CG. CG is fine, it's great, I admire that. The line has its own beauty, the imperfect aspect of it. The fact that it's sometimes slightly strange, really works for me. It's a lot of work. The style of The Red Turtle is a style which is difficult to animate because it's not really crazy cartoon. It's very contained. The movements are very naturalistic. It's not a style that many animators feel comfortable with, but we found the animators, we had time to find them. And even though it's a style that I find difficult, I thought that would be the most beautiful style for the film. When I'm looking for ideas, when I'm looking for a new story, it's a different process every time. There's no formula, but there are always some seeds, some things that stay in my mind all the time, that I've seen a year ago or 20 years ago. That really excites me, and I remember them as being a potential trigger for a story, something that will work. Then I have to think of the music. If I see the visuals, I have to know the music. The music are just as important. They will inspire me and my collaborators. So I'm thinking already immediately of the musical side and the visual side. With The Red Turtle, I had a spark. The very first spark I had for the story was simply a very famous motif, a very famous theme of a castaway on a desert island. It's used a lot the last 20 years, a lot in television programs. I don't mind, because it's a timeless story which you can tell over and over again, like love stories. It works on many levels. You can give it a new angle. I truly believe we could give it a completely new angle, a new ending. I got the idea for a turtle again intuitively. I was thinking I need a creature from the sea for the story. The very first script had no turtle at all, and then I felt no, it doesn't work. The script doesn't work. It needs a creature in the sea. and a mysterious, large, mysterious creature. And all large creatures are mysterious, but suddenly, bang, the turtle. I thought, of course, oh my God, we've got it, this is it. It was a very nice moment. But then you wait a day, a week, a month, because some very exciting moments can pass. But there I felt it was right. A turtle is peaceful, non-aggressive. We tend to love turtles as human beings because of that, because they give the impression of being immortal. They are sea creatures, totally belonging to the sea, but they are also land creatures. They can leave the sea, they can breathe. They're beautiful, we love them, but we keep our distance. We don't caress a turtle. It's not too sweet, not too cute. It's not like a dog or a pony or something. I like that a lot. It has an expression it has a very intense expression on its face. It's a reptile with a hard carapace. So all that came together. There's something wise about a turtle. It's just a feeling. Of course, it's a reptile, but it's a feeling, and that's good enough. The color red I was thinking between black and red. Black is mysterious and lots of details disappear because of the darkness of the color. And it's special, it's really special, a black turtle. But then I thought, no, red is even better. Partly because in the film you don't see the red color at all until the first time you see the turtle. Then suddenly you see a big red, intensely red creature in a blue sea, and it's a very important moment. When I was about 9-10 years old, I wrote a little story. The teacher said, write a story about an animal that you would like to be yourself. And I wrote about a marine turtle, not a land turtle, a marine turtle, because a marine turtle belongs to infinity. The ocean is infinity. She doesn't stay near the coast. She goes alone all the way, thousands of miles, stays away for a year, 2 years, I don't know how long, and then comes back to the same spot. As a child, I found it very moving, and that she goes on land to lay her eggs. It's a huge effort. It's hard work. Then she fills the hole, and she goes back into infinity. And I thought, that's me. The film started basically because Studio Ghibli said, let's make a film. They liked my short films a lot. So they knew my strength as a short filmmaker. And short films often have no dialogue, often because they don't need to. They speak with other languages. And I mean film language and symbolism and colors and music, of course. And of course the acting of the characters. I totally, without hesitation, I believe that quality can be done, the quality of short films can be repeated in a long film, but you need your time to develop it. You can't just sit on for a few days and write it down and say, what do you think of this? Yeah, great, let's do it. It's a bit risky because, for instance, my film has a slowness. In a short film, you can be a bit slow because people know it will only last for a few minutes, so they will watch it patiently. A long film, some people will get impatient and they get very emotional about that. They get angry or very irritated, or you just leave the cinema. And that's the last thing I wanted. So how do you tell a story slowly, but you still keep the audience? Then you just work on a subtle suspense, not a big suspense of car chases and lots of witty dialogue, but a subtle suspense where the audience all the time wants to know, okay, what's happening next? And the most difficult part in The Red Turtle is the moment in the middle of the story where everybody is happy, everything is fine, and there's no suspense, nothing. You don't know where the story is going, but it looks like we have arrived at the end and they lived happily ever after. That was difficult to write. There I asked a lot of help from colleagues. I asked them what they thought. I had a co-writer helping me on that too, because it was too difficult for me to do alone. Studio Ghibli, they really want directors' films. That's how they work. In other words, the director, the filmmaker, has the final creative control. And it may sound obvious, aren't all films made like that? No, because in some cultures and in some studios, the producers have the final control. They will say, this film won't sell enough, let's add some extra excitement, something like that. Studio Ghibli doesn't work like that. They say, within limits, of course, if the director has made a decision, then that's the final choice, even if it's not logical or unusual, etc. And look at their films; they are so strong because of that. Because someone like Miyazaki or Takata can introduce an idea which no one else has done before, but they feel they can do it. If I look back, the biggest thing I've learned from working with Studio Ghibli, it is something very subtle, not a big thing, not a technical thing, not about filmmaking or film language, but simply that it really can work to work with professionals on a trust level. Because they came to me saying, we think you can make a feature, let's try. That's a big trust. A feature is not just an adventure, it's millions and millions of euros. It's years of work, and it's the reputation of Studio Ghibli that has to be kept intact. And they trusted that I could do that, and they also trusted that we would have an honest dialogue about everything, and we did. And I knew it was possible to work with people on a trust level. I've done it like everybody else, I've done that. But it's easy on a small thing with friends. You're just friends together. On a big project, you don't do that. You have contracts, you have lawyers, etc. But with the Japanese producers and the French co-producers also, I felt we were all really with a deep confidence that we would do our best. And it's very liberating. You know it can happen. It's very liberating. It is subtle, but it's one of the most wonderful things that I've kept from the project.